Everybody's heard about the Snow White movie. Everybody's heard about the Snow White situation. And how it's a massive failure, but also at the same time made like $170 million worldwide. But that's $100 million less than their budget. I don't know what Disney was thinking with this one. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they just gave the reins to somebody and was like, here, make a good movie. And here's the checkbox that you have to check off as you make this movie. Make sure you get them all, and nothing more, nothing less. This is the definitive video on Snow White, in my opinion. Angry Joe Show. Snow White Angry Movie Review. Disney's live-action disaster!
Hey guys, we just got back from Disney's Snow White live-action remake, the musical fantasy film that just came out and is apparently the latest craze from Disney that thinks that everybody wants to see. But this is the theater that we showed up to.
Not only did they want everybody to see it, they've been glazing it and saying, this movie is so good, it's so successful, #1 movie of the year. From Disney themselves, they actually said this. And we all know it isn't true, especially when on IMDb, it dethroned Dragon Ball Evolution as the lowest rated film of all time.
I'll put a picture of here. That's Joe waving at me. It was, I think we were the only ones there. Or no, there were two people in the upper right-hand corner, a guy and a girl, and I guess he was hiding in the corner there.
I don't know anybody who has gone to see this movie, wanted to see this movie. Nobody was talking about it in any of the circles that I'm in real life. I don't know how anybody thinks that this movie is a hit. Even people that I know that liked even The Little Mermaid remake didn't like this movie. They said it was boring.
This one, oh boy. We kind of knew how this was going to go for a long time. Let me just say, Rachel Zegler did not do this film's promotion any favors.
No, she didn't. She made it seem like it was going to be a different movie, but kind of like the original stuff was still there. The love interest and the guy kind of helping and the kiss. It was all there. But she made it seem like, no, we don't need no man. This is about women empowerment. No, I don't know why she was doing that.
Wait, what? So she was actually lying about this movie? Why? Because that's what I thought. I thought this was like a woman empowerment. We don't need no man. What was with the insanity then? Was it just straight up insanity and lies? So it is just regular Snow White movie with all the regular Snow White stuff in it. Maybe she thought that they did a bunch of reshoots that took all that stuff out and they were gonna take the dude out. I remember her mentioning something about, it's Hollywood, baby.
Well, they did change it, Joe. I can definitely tell some modern sensibilities are in here. So in that sense, she was kind of correct in that.
Kind of, yes.
But it ended up pissing everyone off.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
I don't know. I'm so curious how much of an effect this has. Because I just looked it up, and I downloaded this picture. It is tracking really bad. So it's Monday. I'm a little late. I'm back from Scotland for this one, so we didn't see it on opening night. But we're looking at, we're still recording, yes. Snow White, starring Rachel Zegler, has opened to 87 million worldwide.
That's a lot.
What a disaster. Snow White is eyeing a finale of 325 on a budget of 270.
Oh.
So theatrical profits probably impossible. They show a grid here, and I'll show this on the site there. It's right now it's tracking slightly Okay, so it goes Aladdin way up there. That made a live action a lot of money. Mufasa made a live action a lot of money. We were wrong on that one.
I feel like they're just getting worse and worse. I didn't even know there was a Dumbo live action, and Snow White's doing worse than Dumbo. When was there a Dumbo live action movie? Hold up. Oh, wait, no, that was that Tim Burton version, wasn't it? I remember now. Dang, I can't believe it did worse than that movie. Rachel Zegler, what is wrong with this chick? Didn't Disney just fire her because of this movie? I hope that they did. I hope they don't put her somewhere like Marvel. She's just gonna mess that up too, because she can't keep her mouth shut about things that aren't even fucking true.
Little Mermaid, Maleficent, Dumbo, and it's tracking just below Dumbo. So it is somewhat of a disaster. I mean, Snow White was legendary cartoon, pretty much saved Disney, started this sort of golden era of Disney.
It should be Snow.
It's so ironic. So ironic that Snow White is originally what saved Disney. And then this movie is such a disaster. It might even kill Disney. No, it's definitely not. Hopefully they get away from doing these stupid live action remakes that nobody likes. But people keep going to see them anyway. And pretending they like them. I remember when Lion King came out, the live action version of it, and people were like, oh my god, it is so good, it's amazing. And then everybody forgot that it existed. And people still talk about the animated version, so if the live action wasn't as good as the animated version, it was just a cash in. It was a money grab. And nobody cared, actually, and they just pretended they cared because nostalgia blinded them.
White and Seven Dwarfs, but they changed the title.
Yeah, they got rid of the Seven Dwarfs. And frankly, they threw in a whole subplot of bandits,
went nowhere.
which
It's fucking
sucked
dumb.
ass. Like, every fucking time these bandits were on screen, I wanted to die. I hated it. And I literally cannot tell, because remember the promotional image, I thought, you know, oh, these are the dwarves. There's
That's what
only
people were
actually going to be
thinking.
one dwarf. Peter Dinklage talking shit, making Disney not hire any dwarf actors to play the dwarves. Instead, we get these bandits. But I think the blowback was so big. Did they go and do some reshoots and inject the? But
It
the
felt like
film, it does feel like two different films.
Yeah.
But it could be that they were always in there. But these bandits, they just feel completely out of place. We don't know any of them. One guy was like, hey.
Quick, the Lord of the Crossbow. How do you not remember Quick? He said it twice.
And then the other one was like, oh, yeah, that one. It's like another name was. And I was like, who? Which one was that supposed to be?
I don't know. I don't care.
What the fuck was the point?
Oh, I think that they were supposed to be in the first half of the movie, and they weren't in the first half because we got the CG Seven Dwarves.
Yeah. But to be fair, the when the dwarves first, I was like, man, this movie, like.
Before they made a whole bunch of changes, I bet it was so much worse. I bet it was really preachy and really modern and diverse, if you know what I mean. Because already those 8 bandits, they look pretty modern and diverse. They don't look like people that would be in this fantasy world of Snow White. They look like people that came from our time and got transported to that world. And how is that modern audience gonna be in the future? How is this movie gonna hold up? I hate it whenever they make stuff for the modern audience, because that just means that it's gonna be dated for this time, which is okay for a lot of stuff, but not when it's a bunch, like half the country hates it.
I don't. You guys know I don't really like musicals, right? And
That's why I was so surprised you took us to go see it.
Hey,
Does he not know?
We've seen all the fucking Disney live action Joes, and
I never saw
when
Beauty
they're
and the Beast.
cartoons, like when I like those musicals, right?
Yeah.
Because they're cartoons or musicals. We saw these as a kid. When they turn into live action and then they're singing and they create, at least in this film, a bunch of new original songs, and they all suck.
That was the same for a lot of the modern Disney movies, even not the live action ones. Moana 2 felt like all the songs in it were AI generated. And you know, a thing about the live action stuff, Why do they even call it live action if everything is just gonna be animated CG anyway? I don't get it. It's just a different kind of animation.
Bye-bye.
Fucking
Nothing as good as Bye-bye.
Suck. And Bye Bye wasn't even the worst.
It was
song.
bad, though.
It was really bad.
That's the best one they had.
And then
though.
Gal Gadot busts out in a song.
She
It was
was
real bad.
You know nothing of Javert.
Yeah, she like really stuck out like a sore fucking
Yeah,
thumb.
her acting, her accent. I don't know what she was going for. Her singing.
What do you mean?
No.
Like you know what she's going for. She's
What?
like fucking The Rock and Kevin Hart.
The
It's
Rock and Kevin Hart.
one dimensional. It's the same
Yeah, it's the
character
same-
every
yeah.
fucking time.
Yeah, yeah.
That's exactly what she
I
is.
thought she was actually trying to put on an accent when she was
No,
doing.
it's the same- That's just
I know
her accent.
No, I know her accent, but I think she was trying to put well, whatever she did, it failed. Now I will say Gal Gadot has the look of when she's not speaking,
That's why she.
right?
That's why she got the role.
And
the
of
evil
course,
queen.
let's go ahead and touch on it. The controversy of race swapping Snow White. Obviously, one of the most well-known characters. Her skin is fair and white and this and that, and we
vampire?
get instead a Latina, Hispanic in the titular role here as Snow White. And the movie kind of throws it away as, oh, the only reason why she's called Snow White, it's not because her skin is fair and white, it's because she was born during the snow.
What? Oh, that's a hell of a cop-out, man. Hell of a cop-out. They changed it just to change it for diversity's sake. My mind is blown. Disney is so cooked. Apparently they're doubling down on all of this stuff too.
So, her name is Snow White.
She
And
could have been riding solo.
right. And then the fact that she's fair, it's not a fair complexion. It's fairness. As in, she doesn't cheat at board games, Joe.
What a loser.
It got even worse. It gets even worse. Are you kidding me, Disney? Are you kidding me? Who is working at Disney? Is it actually like 14-year-old children who don't know how the world works, who don't have any problems other than thinking about racial issues? This is a joke. This movie was made bad on purpose. I think that somebody has their fingers in Disney and a bunch of these companies, and they're trying to destroy them on purpose. Probably China, because they're invested in everything. How much is China invested into Disney?
She's not hiding money under the Monopoly
That
board.
is literally what the stupid mirror means. She is the fairest in all the land of fair to people.
Yeah.
What? Guys, the climax in this film, look, it's been a
stupid. It
long
was all
time
stupid.
since I've seen the original Snow White, but I don't remember it going down like this.
It didn't.
No. It's
So
new.
my point is, almost all of the fucking new shit and changes that they did were awful.
Yeah.
And I hated it. And I don't understand why you would take such a classic. You know, we were at the Alamo and they were showing all these, advertisements for Snow White throughout the years. You know, Snow White re-releasing in theaters, the legendary classic. You know, and they're proud. Disney's fucking proud.
I remember
of Snow
seeing them in
White.
theaters, yeah.
Yeah. And then this comes out and it's as if Disney's ashamed of Snow White.
They are ashamed of Snow White because it doesn't fit their narrative anymore. So they used it as propaganda to push their agenda. That's exactly what happened with this. They made it very clear in the interviews and the posts online and the people defending it. Where are the people defending it now? Because their narrative and agenda propaganda movie turned out to be a stitched together bloody mess.
And they're changing all of the fucking story beats, for modern audiences. And
Modern audiences.
modern gaming. It's happening here. And I don't think if you're going to do that, you're going to take heat and you have to make it real good. These changes have to be good. They have to be creative. And maybe aside from like one, I don't think any of them worked. I hated all the new songs. The only time I had fun was like a 15-minute section there when the dwarves showed up and they were like, dig, and
The dwarves just do not look right. They look like they're trying to make them look like real people, but still kind of fantasy and mystical. And they just are very off-putting. They give off uncanny valley vibes. And I hate it. I hate it so much. They should have gone with actual... Why couldn't they have just gone with actual dwarves? Like real-life dwarves. They don't fit in this movie at all.
Whistle while you work. I was in it there. I was like, okay, I can see this working if, I could see the original Snow White here if you had stayed on track. And then gets smacked in the face by the fucking bandits showing up. And then the bandits and the dwarves are interacting. So weird. And then there's an actual dwarf and he's yelling at the other dwarves and he's saying, I'm the crossbow master. It's the only thing that comes out of this guy's mouth.
The real life dwarf met the fake dwarves. Are they fucking insane? Are they insane? They could have just had real dwarves. I feel like I'm in backwards land. I'm in clown world. I think Y2K did in the world and we're all in hell now.
Shut the fuck up. And so little to say, I hated it. What'd you guys think of Snow White?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't really enjoy it, but I will give Rachel some props. She wasn't bad. Like, she was fine for Snow White. She did some...
She can sing?
She can sing. She has some nice chops. The Evil Queen really took me out of every fucking scene. I didn't like her sequences. It was fucking dumb. I did like... the dwarves were fine. It's CGI.
It's weird, but
you
fine.
stick to that, but then you go to these new thieves that, honestly... didn't really matter in the story.
Why did they do this,
Their
Joe?
stuff went nowhere. You don't care about them. He had one moment towards the end. It just seemed like it was like a whole bunch of reshoots. It's like, oh no, let's do this again. Well, let's throw this movie in and this movie in. And at the end, you get this. And it was just all over the place. I don't like it.
Because he can't be Prince Charming. He can't be this guy that she's pining for.
But she still is, though.
Yeah, but they try to they try to make him not Prince Charming. They try to make him a bandit, a thief, and, loyal to her father to try to make that love story work a little better.
No, it doesn't make...
Okay. I'm really thinking about it, and then they do battle together. It's really generous to call it a battle together, but...
With words, it's the power of the mind, Joe.
Joe, shut the
mind bullets.
The way she wins in this film, I can't wait to talk about it in spoilers. But spoilers for a 1937 film. But of course, there's new. It's different. There's different bits.
The
here.
way she gets terminated is not the same way as the other one.
Yeah. And I get what you're saying about Rachel. I would agree with her that she can sing, but I don't know. She was grating. Her voice was grating on my, that's just me.
Well, you
musicals.
just don't like musicals. Yeah,
but,
there was a lot, but
there was a lot of bad songs.
Yeah, the beginning for me was fine.
Did you see me? Like I was like,
yeah, you were checked out.
But then when the whistle
too,
while you work and the whole, hi ho, I'm in it. I'm like, yeah, need more of that. But I think, and Rachel actually kind of looks. Other than the skin, other than she's Hispanic and not super white.
I think that they could have made it work. I think they could have just made a Snow White movie and not mentioned the fairest of them all stuff and just left that completely out, put actual dwarves in it. From the get-go, Peter Dinklage ruined this movie, I think. I think legit, from the very beginning, everything just kept piling on, and the first thing that piled on was Peter Dinklage saying dwarves should not be in this movie. First mistake is listening to that moron. Second mistake is letting Rachel Zegler talk and continued speaking. They shouldn't, as soon as she said the first thing that divided the community, they should have been like, all right, time to shut the fuck up. We're gonna walk back everything you said and we're not gonna talk about this movie anymore. And then they wouldn't have had to make all these changes and stitch it together. This was like Dragon Age: The Veilguard, the movie.
She kind of looks like Snow White to me. Her like face shape.
Yeah, I had no problem
other than
with
her
that.
The
eyes.
Farquaad haircut.
Yeah, the
sorry.
Farquaad haircut, and
That's
other than
kinda
her
what
eyes
she
being
had
in
to-
different dimensions, like I don't know, that's like the new beauty thing with all the people had like Anna Taylor Joy.
Oh,
and
was it
everybody.
the blue eyes?
Yeah, blue eyes.
Yeah, one blue this way, one blue that way.
What?
Like Superman.
What are you talking about? Your tangents are wild. I don't understand what he just said.
Like
One eye
You said
blue this way.
Yeah, and one
because that's what you were saying, right?
Blue eyes.
yeah.
I get it.
It's like Sid from Ice Age.
Where'd you get that from?
The internet.
Oh boy.
Everything good is on the internet.
Exactly.
All right, Alex, what'd you think?
I think when it stuck to the original formula, the thing that had worked for 90 years.
There is a reason this movie is a classic. Why would you go back and change it? If all of the things that were like the original Snow White worked, why didn't you just make Snow White? Probably because they didn't know it would work. They didn't know what they were doing. These people don't know how to write an actual good movie. I think they had agenda first, story second. Instead of making the story and then implanting their agenda throughout it. No, they implanted their agenda and then put story throughout their agenda. That's exactly what happened.
It was charming. I do think that she can sing. I think it's super unfortunate that the stylist made her look horrible. I mean, she looks awful in this entire movie. That haircut is unforgivable.
Isn't that Snow White's haircut?
Yeah, but it's like you're going to change
it.
shit and cut songs out and do something like you have the freedom to do things. You don't have to do
I
the
think
exact.
she looks exactly like Snow White, other than her skin complexion.
Yeah, it's just not doing anything for her. It makes her look ridiculous. Like certain haircuts work on certain people. Like some people can pull off bangs. Most of you can't. Please, if you're having a
I think that they should have made her hair choppy. Like, choppy and straight and kind of stuck together looking. I don't know. Like the chick from Twilight, the pretty vampire lady that everybody had a crush on back in the day. I think with that haircut, that it would have melted the hearts of teenage boys around the world and girls.
Evil Queen did it.
Yeah, the evil queen. Yeah, but even after she, at the end, she keeps the awful haircut. So it's like she looks ridiculous because her hair is stupid. But she can sing, and she does a really good job when she's singing. And I think when we have the CG dwarves, they're super charming because they're doing the sequences that we know and we love, and they're doing these songs.
They're having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a big part of like modern Western culture because it's been around for so long, and it was working.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot can't sing, and she doesn't really act. She just, she's Gal Gadot, and she's Gal Gadot here, and it's not great. And so it's just unfortunate that when she's on screen, and it's worse when she's singing.
Yeah.
The new song.
Well, you can't have an interesting villain nowadays. You can't have a villain that people like. You have to hate the villain. It has to be a bad villain every time because they don't want people to be a villain because they think that people see a villain character and like the villain character and want to be like the villain character. Remember The Dark Knight Rises? Remember the Joker guy who shot up the theater? That's what they're afraid of. They don't want people to become the villain that they create. So they have to make them terrible and bad.
Songs aren't great. The new bandits aren't great. The new storylines they try to inject are not together. And the only thing that makes sense to me is that they filmed the movie. They said they did what Rachel Zegler said that they were going to do. We're going to do our own thing. Fuck 90 years of cultural influence. We're going to change these things and this thing and this thing. And then they realized what they had sucked. And then they put those pictures out and everyone's like, I hate whatever this is. Because it doesn't make sense that the bandits show up suddenly and they talk as if we know who these people are and are familiar with them and they say things as it's supposed to be charming and it's just awkward because it's the first time. He's like, I'm Quick, the master of the crossbow. It's like, it's the first thing you've said to me. Shut the fuck up. What are you doing? It's like,
yes, I know.
He got hit by a rock. That's the only thing he
Yes.
He's actually dopey.
And it's so awkward, and it doesn't make any sense. And then they combine things, and then again, it's kind of charming because the CG dwarves are there, but it's just... And then the ending doesn't make any sense.
I think that what they really, really should have done, one of two things should have been done. Either one of these would have been fine. One, make the movie 1-for-1 live action. They could have even had Rachel Zegler and just left out the fairest of them all stuff. All the white skin stuff. They could have done that. Make it 1-for-1 the same movie. Or two, do it like Romeo and Juliet. That one movie where it's like a gang movie. Where you have the underlying story, but it's set in a different time and place with different characters that are basically the same, you know? Just redo the movie and make it completely different, but with the same story steps as the original. Those are the only two ways this movie could have worked.
Because you just have these people show up in situations, like, they just show up, and then they go, and then they hold their pickaxe, and then nothing happens, and no one addresses anything, and it's not important to the story, and
It fell apart.
It feels exactly like last-second reshoots, because we have to hit this March deadline, and in that case, it's like, look, you got a third of this movie right, because you got a third of the stuff that's there. Like, you've got the original songs that are good, you've got some of the stuff, some of the CG animals are super adorable and cute, and I think the kids are going to like some of that stuff, but everything new that was made for this movie sucks.
Yes. And it's not, and you were saying earlier the songs are not great. I think, and then this is not great, I think all those that you listed are bad. Like, it's so weird. I went from, like, super highs, like, hey, we're hitting exactly where, to lows. And I tell you, the movie stays in lows a lot more.
There's a couple songs that I think I'm mid on. Like, one of the intro songs where she's singing, I don't think it's bad, because I think what's bad in this movie is when Gal Gadot's singing. Like, it's bad. And that is, like, the level of quality, the difference between that and, like, the first song is like, wow.
You know nothing of
Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe tried. And you have to watch Les Mis for me, because Russell Crowe, it's so good. I mean, like, Les Mis is such a great story. But
just a little side tangent here. I watched Les Miserables, or Miserables, I don't know how to pronounce it. Les Mis. I watched that back in school, and I liked it a lot, and I remember Russell Crowe singing, and it was kind of not good, but it fit his character. The way he sang sounded like he was a soldier. He didn't have to sound good. Just good enough.
Russell Crowe can't sing as Javert, and she is worse than Javert, and it's so funny.
There is one worse singer. Aquafina.
Yeah, but she's rapping.
That song was real bad.
That is definitely worse.
But as far as
Russell Crowe did musical theater before. Like, he did do musicals before.
She didn't do a good job as the evil queen. Like, even Melissa McCarthy did a better job as Ursula. And
the live action.
She did better, and I liked her singing. It wasn't best, but it was.
Wow. So basically, you fail at readapting it. You change stuff around for modern audiences. They're almost all bad changes.
You know who made this movie? Do you know who made this movie? It was theater kids. It was drama club kids from high school. The weird kids in drama club, not even the cool ones that were just there, you know, hanging out, having fun. It was the ones that were taking it way too seriously, wanted to change up the plays that they were doing to fit their own little world that they lived in. I remember I was in drama club. I know what these types of people do. I know how they feel, what they think, what they make. They all think that they all were writing their own plays and wanted us to all do them. And they were all terrible all the time. And it was always this weird, like, we have to empower this group during my writing. We have to have a black person, a white person, an Indian person, a gay person. It was all that stuff because they wanted to make a statement, and it was terrible. It was always terrible. It was like children wrote this movie.
Worst songs. Really, here's the positive things. Let's get the positive things out of the way. The positive things, like I said, there was a 15-minute sequence where, you know, the dwarves are involved, and she's at the dwarves' house.
Whenever she first meets him, and then she's like, okay, I'm off. I was like, is that all we're going to get from them?
Yeah.
I was going to be upset because I thought it was going to be transferred over to the new bandits.
The other good thing is the look. I like the costumes. I like her outfits, Gal Gadot's outfits.
I've seen a lot of clips from this movie, and I agree. I like a lot of the stuff that's in it. Really, the only thing that I don't like are the dwarves. They do not look right. They look so weird to me. Uncanny Valley. I feel like their eyes are too small, for one. It's like they have realistic eyes, but you can tell the rest of them are CG.
As the evil queen, Snow White. They got her dress right with the yellow and blue and red.
Pretty good mirror.
And I
Mirror's
liked
good.
the furry creatures that Alex mentioned. They're very cute. I think kids are going to love all the little hedgehogs and chipmunks and squirrels and birds and Bambi. Like literally Bambi shows up here. I don't remember if the original is the forest, the spirit of the forest in this Bambi form. Is there a live action Bambi? No, that's one of the Disney hasn't done yet.
Soon.
Wonder if they're
Soon,
gonna
The
do
Reckoning.
It'll be
Bambi
Baby
the
the
same
Reckoning,
one.
The Rock, right?
No.
Oh,
there's
you're
another
talking about the
one, like a
horror
real, yeah.
version of Bambi.
Bambi the Reckoning.
So really, those are really the only positive elements, and then the songs from the original. And then I think they completely ripped out songs of the original, like
Someday My Prince Will Come was cut.
right, because apparently women are not allowed to, and men are not. I guess that's
She's
not
a
thing
strong,
anymore. She's a strong,
independent
independent woman.
woman.
She don't need no man.
Yeah.
Except
Got
for
it.
when she almost died.
Hey, hey.
What'd you say, Joe? Excuse me. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You are sexist. Yeah, it's not very good.
No.
But what I'm so fascinated with is why is it not doing good at the box office? Is it because people don't connect with Snow White? They don't care about Snow White anymore? 1937, it's been too long? Or because the trailers look bad? Or because of the controversy?
All of it. Everything he just said is true. All of it. All of those things. Not all at once. People have their own reasons. Also, why would somebody want to pay... Well, I don't even know how much it'd be. I'm just going to say $50 for a family to go see it. And they have to drive there, and they got to sit there, and they don't have their accommodations that they have at home. Why would somebody do that? And if you're taking a big family, that it's not just a husband, wife, and 2 kids, that's going to end up costing you a lot of money to go see this movie just for it to be a 6 out of 10 or worse. Yeah, I could see why people don't want to go see this movie and a lot of other movies that are in theaters. This is why theaters are empty all the time. Unless you get like some phenomenon happen where everybody just has to go out to see a movie. Like Barbie and Oppenheimer.
For me,
Rachel's controversy
I love
or race
Disney.
swapping.
Like I love Disney stuff.
What is it?
I would think some of the marketing, the stuff that Rachel said, probably very off-putting. And I'm not a big Snow White fan. I was just never
But
like.
does general audiences really pay attention enough? Maybe they're like you, where of all your Disney VHSs, remember at your
Yeah.
house with your.
I was.
Yeah, it was never your big one.
You know where it's gonna succeed though? Actually, it is actually going to succeed when it comes to the streaming service. Then people will start watching it and it'll blow up. It'll probably still be sitting with low ratings. People still aren't gonna like it, but it seems like a movie that Disney adults would throw on in the background. Or like a movie that parents would be like, well, this is a weird garbage movie that is kind of okay for kids, so I'm just gonna let my kids watch it to keep them quiet for a while. That's what this movie's gonna be. That's what's gonna make it popular. Streaming services.
Right, because it was one of the obviously the earliest.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it in the movie theaters. I remember going and seeing it.
1937.
Yeah, I was there. I was there. I don't think that the average moviegoer, I don't think the average American watches any of that. They don't know who Rachel Ziegler is. They don't read any of her press releases. They see the trailers, but like this doesn't hit the nostalgia for parents. I saw it in the movie theater, but it was a super limited release when we were kids. And so it's not like you remember when the little it's just too long ago.
You're saying even if, let's say, in your opinion, even if she was cast as a pasty white girl, and Rachel never said, well, it wouldn't even be Rachel. It'd be somebody else, and that person never put their foot in their mouth 17 times
Maybe
and
would've
shit
done
on the
little-
original. And the actress was like, I love the original. I've seen the original 1,000 times. I'm so happy to play Snow
Maybe it would
White.
have been better, yeah.
Do you think
A little
that
bit
the box
better?
office
Yes.
would be better? I
A
don't
little
think
bit
it
better.
matters.
I don't think it matters.
I
mean,
think
it's-
with Alex,
it's like Assassin's Creed we've been talking about, like all of the noise around all of these people talking like nonstop about it's a culture war thing, and it still sold better than all the other ones because most people aren't perpetually online.
You think that Snow White was probably already, this is this is the potential of it.
I think people didn't like the other live action movies enough, and then they hear about Snow White and they're like, ugh, another one. I'm not gonna watch this one unless it's on streaming. I might check it out, just, like I said, throw it on in the background. or barely pay attention to it while you're on your phone or something, watching a movie that you don't really care about. It's just too much saturation. There are too many better movies, better things to do. There are too many. Why go see a movie for $50 plus when you're already paying for all these streaming services, and there's so many things you haven't seen that are so much better. 10 out of 10 stuff that people haven't seen yet, because there's too much stuff out there that's 10 out of 10 that's just not in theaters. Oversaturation, that's what killed this. Oversaturation and check boxes and money grabs and grifters.
It wasn't advertised particularly well, and it's too long ago, and I think those are the two big things. Yes, there's going to be people that didn't see it because of stuff that Rachel said, but I think that's such a minority thing that it doesn't matter.
We saw the trailer for Lilo and Stitch beforehand. That's going to be gangbusters.
It looks amazing.
I think that's going to do very well.
And you know what's crazy about that? Everything in the trailer looks almost scene for scene like it was in the original that people like. So
I
it's like,
haven't seen Lilo and Stitch.
oh, I'm going to bring Moose, because Moose has a Stitch outfit.
Lilo and Stitch may be my favorite Disney franchise of all time. I love it so much. The new Lilo and Stitch movie looks incredible. They should have done that with Snow White. They should have just made the movie 1-for-1. Lilo and Stitch looks like 1-for-1 to the cartoon movie that came out. And there's gonna be sequels to it, I already know. Maybe just a couple though, because the little girl is gonna end up being too old, or they'll recast her or something. I hope not. I hope they do keep that little girl. I don't know who that little girl is. And I kind of feel sorry for her because she works for Disney, and Disney is not known to treat children correctly, if you know what I mean. Hopefully it doesn't turn out to be a disaster, but it looks really good. It looks like it might be a 9 out of 10, and it's going to secure a spot for Disney to keep making garbage agenda pushing propaganda movies like Snow White. But I hope maybe that it slaps Disney in the face whenever that movie comes out and they realize, oh, we need to make actual good movies without pushing agendas again, like they were doing back in the 2000 to 2010. That was probably the only time that I actually really liked Disney. Some of the stuff in the 90s, like Toy Story and Lion King, I really like.
Yeah. That's cool.
But I wonder if they're gonna make the aliens like dress up like they're supposed to be humans, have the wig, and you put some makeup on.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
I saw a scene in the trailer.
But they do.
It made me laugh out loud. It was like a portal. And then,
Yeah.
Right, anyways,
That's
so let's go final verdicts for fucking Snow White and the seven, or actually just Snow White.
Yeah, they changed it.
Let's change that. Just
seven,
Rachel
little
Zegler.
men.
The Rachel and Gal Gadot show.
Oh God.
I was actually surprised halfway. I'm going to start. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No,
I was
you're good.
surprised halfway through this because I was like, hey, this is actually better than I thought it was going to be. Because I thought that some of the songs weren't great. I was expecting this to be a dumpster fire. And actually, when we got to the CG dwarves, they were charming. The songs were good. I didn't hate the intro songs. Gal Gadot looked exactly the part, and she hadn't really started singing yet.
Then...
She hadn't spoke.
And then, unfortunately, we kind of hit this thing where we get through all the original songs. We get into the brand new content. She starts singing. We introduce the bandits, and it was just free fall and score down to beyond below average. I don't think that this is worse than Dragon Ball Evolution. I don't think that this, because it is. It's rated lower than Dragon Ball Evolution right now. It's rated lower than Cats. I don't think this is worse than Cats.
Holy shit!
But I don't think this is a good movie. I think that this could have been average to above average.
The fact that it could have been better is the reason why people are scoring it so low, because it was so easy to make this a good movie and they just couldn't help themselves. That's why it's scoring so low, because they planted their feet right in the middle of the culture war, right on the front lines of the culture war for no reason. Like I don't get it. I don't get why they had to do that.
If we had continued on our pace up until the halfway point, but the problem is, for me, it fell into the bad movie like area because it feels like a cobbled together mess. I think I'm going to finish right around a 3 out of 10. I think it's a little worse than below average because of how insanely messy it is at the end. It's not the worst thing you'll ever see. Some kids may enjoy it, but honestly, I think that this is a bad movie.
No, I 100% agree with that score. I was actually going to give it a 3 as well. A lot of it I agree with. I was like, oh, it's not that bad. I don't know why people would think, okay. It keeps going on.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. And I honestly, I saw you check that, and I was checked out too. And
At one point, I covered my ears, Joe, because I couldn't stand them.
Yeah, these bandits just really just fucking brought it down because there was no point to them. And then the ending scene was just a huge fucking eye roll. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
it's so
We'll talk
fucking
about it in
dumb.
spoilers. I am also giving it a 3 out of 10. I don't think it started well. I was actually annoyed with it right off the bat. And really, it was only until she escaped into the forest from the huntsman and the dwarves show up. They're doing their work. She works with them, teaches them to whistle.
That's another thing. Didn't they already make a live-action Snow White movie that was better? Snow White and the Huntsman? And what about Maleficent? Why did they make another one that was obviously going to not be as good as Snow White and the Huntsman? I don't remember that movie, really. I watched it when it came out, and I remember nothing about it. But I guarantee you it's better than this movie because nobody's talking about it.
I was enjoying it, and it was going up. And then, just like y'all, it took a shit. And it could not recover.
No.
And it never recovered.
No.
So 3 out of 10. I'm giving you a point because the fucking, the dwarves and the singing from the original songs, the cute animals, and Snow White's just a fucking classic, fucking story. So you're going to, by default, get some of it right. So another disaster for Disney. I don't think it's going to be profitable, and this is probably not
below
what they were
Dumbo.
hoping.
Dumbo is not very good
No,
either.
we hated Dumbo.
Yeah.
I fucking hated Dumbo. I don't remember what I rated it, 1 or 2. So I think I'd rather see Snow White because I fucking hated Dumbo. I can't remember my rating. Somebody put it.
Well,
in the
what's so
comments.
crazy is
Michael Keaton.
it's Tim Burton too. It's just like, how do you fuck
that
this up
fucked
so
up
bad?
I just never want to see that again. I never want to see this again either.
No.
I'd rather watch this than Dumbo.
But I'd rather watch this than Dumbo.
I'm not going to be watching any of them. I'm not going to watch any Disney movie that's even got an inkling of being okay. If it looks like it is at least going to be decent or good, I'm definitely going to watch it because I love Disney movies. I've probably seen every Disney movie up to 2016. And I really liked the last Disney movie that I watched, which was Wreck-It Ralph 2, whatever it was called. Ralph Breaks the Internet. Yeah, I liked that movie a lot. I don't think that I've seen a single Disney movie after that. And I don't want to, except Lilo and Stitch.
Okay, so what do we got left in Disney live action remakes? I'm looking at a list here, pulled it up. So we had Snow White, we got Lilo and Stitch, we got Mufasa already.
Yeah.
So Moana is in development. That's just way too early. It's going to be annoying. The Hunchback of Notre Dame is in early development.
Oh no, Hunchback of Notre Dame. That one's gonna be a complete disaster. How are they gonna get the character that's being shamed by everybody for the way he looks correct? How are they gonna do that? They can't even plant one of those stories. How are they gonna reimagine a story that is that?
The Aristocrats, Hercules, and Cruella 2 are all
They better not.
confirmed.
The
Aristocat.
Confirmed.
The Aristocats?
No, I said Did I say Aristocrats?
Yeah.
I meant Aristocats.
Okay.
They better not fuck up Hercules.
They're gonna fuck up Hercules.
I fucking love that one.
Unless Danny
Joe
DeVito
loves
plays,
Hercules.
I love that movie. Is amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
They have some
But-
banger songs.
But do you remember Mulan? Like Mulan was
They
a
better
fucking
not fuck
banger
those
too.
Songs up.
Fuck Mulan. That was a terrible.
Danny DeVito is perfect.
There's just too many live action remakes coming out. Why? Most of these are going to be a disaster. Hercules, I think, is going to be an absolute disaster. How are they going to have a white man, a strong white man character as the main character and a bunch of strong white people all around? Because there was nothing but white people in those times, in that area. How are they going to be able to do that? They're not. All of these live action remakes. Moana? Why? Why a Moana remake? It's way too soon.
Tink
Yes.
is rumored. The Sword in the Stone development delayed.
That's an older
No
one.
one's gonna watch Sword in the Stone. No
I'll
one.
watch
one.
it. I like
You're
that
old.
one. Yeah.
You're fucking
I'll
old.
watch it. The Jungle Book 2 rumored. Bambi's in early development. Aladdin 2 is only rumored because the
The
first
Return
one
of
made
Jafar?
so much money.
The
It
Return
made
of
so much
Jafar.
money. The Return of Jafar. I think they might do something different.
Boo.
Robin
No.
Hood has been confirmed. And
There better be a
finally,
giant chicken.
the Black Cauldron, they got the rights acquired for it.
No one's gonna watch that one either.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know about that one.
I like Black Cauldron. I like Sword in the Stone. Those are a couple of my favorite classic Disney movies. I don't want any of these, really. There's maybe a couple. I'm very curious about Hercules, really. What about Treasure Planet? A Treasure Planet live action would probably end up being a franchise and maybe compete with Star Wars, but they can't compete with Star Wars because that's their own IP. And Treasure Planet is a better Star Wars movie than any of the Star Wars movies, in my opinion. I love Treasure Planet.
Okay, let's go into the spoiler section. Thank you so much. Do not waste your time or money on Snow White.
Do we need a
From
spoilers?
Disney.
Yeah, we do.
We
Let's
need
do
to
one.
give them the fucking message that this is not what we want to see from you. Cut it out. Stop ruining your classics.
It's better than Electric State.
The closer...
Costs less than Electric State,
I
too.
would rather... Isn't that fucked up? We rated this higher than Electric State. 2s and 1s. I'd rather watch this. Well, there's, because there's artistry in this. There's the original songs from 1937 that they didn't fuck up. They left them in. A few of them. They ripped most of them out. And
Do you
replaced
think
them
that
with
they
new.
were originally out of the movie? Because if it was truly just the
curious.
bandits all the way through, they're like, nah, fuck Whistle While We Work, fuck
Dude,
Hi-Ho.
this film would be a 1 out of 10
Yeah.
if the dwarves were not a part of it. If
Oh,
the
yeah.
dwarves were replaced by the bandits, this would be a fucking
I
1.
don't like. Yeah. Don't
And
like it.
there's a version of this movie, I feel like, that's what it was.
Like the
Because
butthole cut,
you know,
the cat's butthole cut that's
the
secretly out there.
fucking crossbow master that Alex knows his name
Yeah,
is.
quick.
Quick, the crossbow master is the one that... Oh, okay. Sorry. We're going into spoilers right now. Join us in the spoilers.
I'm not gonna play the spoiler section. If you want to watch the spoilers for this video that they're with them talking about it, it's linked down there in the description. Like this video if you like me bitching the whole time about Disney being retarded. I can't wait to go see Lilo and Stitch. Hopefully they make like a Wreck-It Ralph remake that's live action. Not really. I don't know. I want that, but they're gonna fuck it up. There's too many live action movies coming out. If just a couple of them bomb really, really hard, spending hundreds of $millions on them, I think they'll cut it out. I think they'll stop doing so many live action remakes. Or maybe they'll start doing TV series, which might end up being better. Just please stop it. I feel like they're destroying themselves on purpose.